Hey guys, those of you who are among us, 70 people, not bad. So we were working in the office, um, making some progress, and they were like, we should do a stream. What would happen if we just turned on the stream? So that's what we did. And wow, 73 of you are here. That's cool. So I have nothing really planned, except that today I was coding up some UI, so I figured, well, let's just stream it, and I can walk you guys sort of through what I'm doing, just as a break. And we can answer questions too, why not? Okay, so this is code, right? Let me show you what I'm working on. So we have finalized the way that we're going to handle, what's that thing called? UI. Whoops, that's not it. I gotta find the window that has the UI in it. Alright, hold on. Let's switch out of this. Go back to our Golem. Hi Golem. That's not the right window. See, I got all these windows. That's the right window. Alright, let's close all these other windows. Alright, and now head on back to Windowland. Alright, hey. So what you're seeing now is what I think is the final crafting UI, and it's only like 50% done. Let me see if I can find you an image of a mock-up of like what the thing will end up looking like. Bing. Okay, let's see if we can get that positioned correctly. Kind of guessing here. Flying blind. Oh no, I'm really flying blind because I didn't think that my monitors would work out this way. Okay, great. And I can even scale it down so it fits, maybe, because I can't scale down the web page. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so boom. Okay, so the green background represents kind of the game, right? This is just a Photoshop mock-up, right? And so the idea is that we're gonna have, and this is what you're looking at is, say, like Ellogeyen Forest Rider down here. He's a carpenter, and you'll hit his button. The icon is totally wrong. It says, hey, bring up my crafting recipes, and then you'll get this window, which is all the stuff that he can craft. And we want to have these predefined categories of all the things that you can do, craft, like across everybody, just so it's easy to find things. So we'll always have categories like weapon and armors, furnishing, building materials, whatever, decoration. We're playing around with these. We have to figure out what the right one is. Food and drink would be another category. And if the crafter can craft anything in that category, the recipes are shown here. This is super boring. We'll probably do an alternate display where you can see icons instead, because reading text is not very fun. But then you click on something and you get the recipe here, and then you get to craft, specify how many you want to craft, and then you hit the craft button. When you do that, you'll get this queue of craftable things, right? So the first time you craft something, let me see if I can do this correctly. No, I messed it up. Okay, so the first time you craft something, it'll be like, bam, and it'll show up sort of in the queue at the top of your sort of work queue, which is over here. Wait, what's the right way to do this on stream? Over here. And then as you craft more and more things, it'll just sort of show up on the side, so you can sort of see what your crafter's doing. And then you'll be able to manage this list by doing things like reorder things and throw them away and pause them in general. Like if you're like, hold on, let me use my wood for something else. I don't want you to build all this stuff. You can pause the queue. So yeah, so that's the way that I'm pretty sure this is final. I mean, this thing has gone through 15 revisions at this point, and it's got to stop, right? It's like the revisions get smaller and smaller, and I feel pretty good about where it is now. So now I am implementing it along with Stephanie's help. And here is the implementation. Yep. Ellogeyen is a great carpenter. Although he's only an apprentice, he's still great. Okay, so what you're looking at is, it probably won't surprise you if you've been following along. This is HTML, just straight up HTML and JavaScript. What you're looking at is Chrome, and our UI is implemented in HTML and JavaScript. We take a Chrome window and we slap it on top of the game screen with transparency, which is great because we did a lot of exploring of UI toolkits for games, and we didn't find anything that really met our needs. So we're just like, man, if only we could just write HTML. And we were able to do that. So we do transitions like this accordion widget using jQuery UI. Go ahead and Google it if you want to know about that. And all of these sort of Ajaxy things where like content loads into the screen without the whole page refreshing is done through this Ajax framework called Ember. Can we have goggles for our dragons? No. Okay, so this is like going to be more of a coding stream, just because I mean I am working on coding right now, and I don't want to get distracted from that. So if that's not your thing, I don't know, follow along or don't. But just to prepare yourself. Who is Chris? A new guy in your team? Chris is our brother who's helping us out. We have two other brothers, Chris and Mark. And Chris is like helping us manage like our Kickstarter rewards and helping us with the community side, which is very much appreciated. The code is coming. Here is the code. Okay, so one in chat if you know any HTML and JavaScript, just so I can sort of gauge my audience. Yeah, that's not funny, Tony. Tony put one. Okay, some of you do. Great. So this will be useful for you guys if you're just like curious, or if you ever want to like make a UI mod. Oh, 7 of 92. I guess that's not a good ratio. All right. Well, maybe we'll blow through this quickly, and then we can, I don't know, do some Voxel stuff. But basically, what you're looking at is a handlebars template. Handlebars is a templating library for HTML, where like handlebars are these curly braces kind of look like handlebars, right? So anything that you see between curly braces is like code that is evaluated. Yeah, lots of zeros. Sorry, guys. All right, well let's just go like at a super high level then, because otherwise it's not going to be. I mean, I'm talking gibberish, I'm sure, to a lot of you guys. So if you look at this thing, let's look at the source. So this is the embedded debugger in Chrome DevTools, and I can look at the source of this guy by going like, okay, so here's the page source, right? So this is HTML, and I can look at like, say, like this guy by right-clicking on it. Like, I want to see like how's this wooden practice sword header implemented. I can look at it here and see, oh look, it's an H1, and there's wooden practice sword. There's the text, right? So how did that like wooden practice sword text get in there? Well, okay, I gotta try to swap between windows. This will be fun. Okay, great. So if we go down into our templates, so these are just like blocks of HTML, and then there are these little handlebars sections that say render something. And this is like, okay, so this is a directive saying render the details template right here. Okay. So I go down to the details template. So this is all just HTML, and I know it looks intimidating, but HTML is really not that tough, guys. And then this is just sort of a way of shoving dynamic content into HTML. So it's like, oh, okay, there's this variable called model, and pick the name property out of it, right? And put that there. And then there's another property called description, right? Well, where do those things come from? They come from data that we get from the game, which we expose through basically a bunch of URLs. So like if I type like, oh great, yeah, now you can know that I like ESPN and KickTrack and all that other stuff. If I type like localhost, and these are like mocked up because I'm not connected to the real game, but the real game will expose an API like this, right? So I can look at like this. What's this? Hey, this is like the data that we're going to get back from the game, right? So it's like all objects in the world, like people and blocks of wood and everything, have data that looks like this, right? So it's like, okay, this is kind of opaque. This is really inside baseball and probably too advanced. But what the heck? I was just doing this on a lark, so we'll see, right? So this object has a bunch of other little objects in it, information about the unit itself, information about the crafter, and information about the queue, and these are links to the objects there, right? So if I go to this one, I can see, okay, now I can get to some information about this guy, right? So object 1 has information with a name. Here's the name. Here's the description, right? The profession, right? If we go to like the crafter info for this thing, which is at this URL, Okay, so this is like, Oh, the whole window? Oh, you guys can't see my URL bar. That's a problem here. There, the awesome bar, right? So basically, this is like kind of like the information about this crafter, right? So there are all these recipes, right? And here's the small wooden table recipe, and that recipe is like at this location. So I can like go to this location, right? And you know, this is mocked up data. Right now we only have like the name and the description. And the description is totally bogus, right? Like, we need a better description. Please help us, Stephanie. And basically, the way that the game works, because I'm working it with mocked up data, there's no game, right? The way the game works is you, as a mod writer, expose all this data in Lua, and then the game will automatically generate this API so that you can grab it on the HTML side the same way that you normally put data in HTML through like AJAX calls to this REST style API. Right. So basically, what this thing is, can I get this back to a normal size? Yeah. What this thing is basically like a standard AJAX app that is querying all those URLs to get the data and shoving it into the HTML page. Yeah. And like all this stuff, all these interactions, this is mocked up, right? So like as I add new recipes, we'll get stuff here, and you can see things are missing. The icon is missing, right? And we support scrolling, like even with the mouse wheel. Oh, I have to add more, right? So arrows show up, and I can scroll through this thing, and I can scroll through using the mouse wheel, or I can like go up, go down. All this stuff is just straight up HTML, which is cool for us because it's really fast and easy to write this stuff, and we can make it look however we want. And it's really easy to skin. Our skinning story is just CSS, cascading style sheets. And if there's a particular, how is your C++ interacting with the HTML UI? I should look at your guys for questions. Yeah. So it's not so much the C++, it's more like the data that you expose in the mods, right? So say you have a mod that's like a jukebox mod, right? So you want to have like this mod play music, right? And you want to have simple controls like next track, previous track, pause, play. And you want to expose like a list of music, right? So you'll have an object in your Lua mod, which is like the set of tracks that you can possibly play, let's see. Basically, that you'll have a way of remoting that out into the UI, which means there'll be like some known URL like this one, but your object will have whatever. It'll be like this URL will not be so generic. It'll be like /API/object/your/mod/whatever, and it'll show like, you know, the data that you wanted to provide there. Okay, so now you know. Now when you need to write the URL, or when you need to write the UI, you know the URL that your mod exports data to. You know the format of the data because you put it there in the first place. And if you forgot, you could just go and like, you know, browse it, and then you write the UI just the way that you'd write any other web UI. And you can use our tools, our stack, for doing this, which we think is pretty cool. Which is basically, we didn't write it. We used someone else's Ember and handlebars and all that stuff. Which is, it's got kind of a learning curve to it. But once you get a handle on it, it's super easy. Like the crafting window, or you could use it whatever. You could write your UI using whatever you want. Maybe not whatever you want, but theoretically anything that works in the browser or works in Chrome should work in Stonehearth. So like this crafting window, it's not like the most amazing thing on the planet, but it's got like some pretty good interactions where it's got like this accordion thing that's moving up and down, right? And it's got the selection working, and it's got this thing for managing the list. So it's got some decent interactions to it, and the code is like teeny tiny. Like, I'll scroll through it slowly, right? So here's the HTML. You know, maybe like a screen and a half worth of HTML. I guess you can see it in the upper corner here, right? Yeah. And then the JavaScript for this is like even less. Well, it's about the same amount. It's like, you know, like 5 or 6 functions, maybe like how many lines of code? Under 100 lines of code, 99 lines of code, right? So, and then there's some. This is just a straight up style sheet, right? So we've got like, and this is actually the biggest thing, right? But you can see there's not much per line of code, right? So like in 172 lines of style and 100 lines of JavaScript and under 100 lines of, so under 400 lines of code, which is not a mammoth amount of code. We've basically written one of the more complicated UIs in the game. So it's neat. Oh yeah, so if you want to read up on the tools that we use, let me just like browse through them quickly, and then you can like Google them yourself. So we use ember.js as our overall framework. Whoop, that's not good. Alright, so this is the ember.js page, and their documentation, they have these guides, right? They have a video to write a simple Ember app, right? Their documentation is pretty darn good. The only thing about Ember is if you're like used to using other frameworks, Ember does a lot of stuff that's like magic, and so you'll see their code and you'll be like, how can that possibly work? I don't understand, like something's missing. The whole point of Ember is that like they handle stuff behind the scenes for you. So if it seems like it's magic right away, you don't understand it, that's kind of the point of Ember, which took me a little while to get my head around. Okay, the other thing is Ember uses handlebars, and this is the handlebars site with some simple documentation on that. What else do we use? We use jQuery UI, not a lot of it, but a little bit of it. Here's the jQuery UI page, and you can see they've got like lots of widgets, right? They've got like, what else are we using here? They've got, I guess we're only using the accordion. We might end up using like their slider, which is okay. And then the other thing we use is Bootstrap. Where's Bootstrap? There. Right. So Twitter Bootstrap, which is just has, we don't use their layout. It provides basically a lot of layout and a lot of widgets, and we're using like not the layout but the widgets. So they've got like button groups, and of course we skin these to look like, you know, all fantasy-ish and stuff. What else are we using? We're using their tooltips. Well, we might not, but for now we are. Whatever, I can't find it. But like they've got all these like sort of cool widgets that are great for us. Where's okay, yeah. So they got like a drop-down widget here, and then labels and badges. I don't know if we'll use these. We might, right? So yeah, that's our web stack. Yeah, and if this is like, holy cow, I have no idea what the heck Tom is saying, this is a lot of stuff you're throwing at me. It is, but like, you know, we're giving you guys the inside track. And we will have, eventually, documentation for this. Like, here's a simple add-on. Here's a simple UI add-on. Here's where to go as you learn, you know, and maybe one of you guys will write this stuff for us so we don't have to. But if no one does, we'll step up to the plate and do it. We're trying to make it easy to write UI mods. So you're going to have to like kind of know your way around a web app, but that's stuff that is all learnable. The web is not as hard as it may seem if you're just looking at the web and going, oh, how do they do that? You learn it bit by bit and you can get it. Can I play my Unity web player in a multiplayer game? No. So add-ons like the Unity web player won't work because in our embedded Chromium you don't have those add-ons installed. So that's not, and we don't want you to install those add-ons either. So that's not going to work. But like anything that's standard, web compliant should just work. And even some stuff like Flash might work because it's sort of part of Chrome at this point. I'm not sure if you'd want to do anything in Flash except for maybe like embed a video or something. Oh, you want me to play your game? No. Sorry, no, can't do. Okay, so I guess I like spammed a lot of information at you guys. Sorry, but like I'm kind of excited because this stuff is like finally working the way we want it to. Let me get Bootstrap out of here. Go back to the. Oh, Tony tried your game, Yoshi, and he said it crashed his browser. That's not good. Let's blame the browser and not your game. Okay, so I'll take a couple of questions about the fire hose of information you guys just had if you have any questions. Otherwise, I don't know, we can talk about other stuff. The beta is set for end of this year. J-coded. Yeah. How will it work if I want to reuse some of the shown elements? Yeah, we have to figure out, like, that's a good question. We have to figure it out. I mean, what I would like to do, I can't, like, promise we'll do this, but I would like to just ship all the UI code in the clear, right? So you can just like look at the code and copy paste if you want to. There may be reasons why we can't do that, either for performance reasons or whatever. But if we can do that, great. If not, for sure we'll take a subset of it and make it available to you, like all the widgets that we use and all the style sheets, so that it'll be pretty easy to duplicate our look. Will there be pictures of the item in the crafting menu? Yes. So this list will definitely have icons, and we'll probably have a separate view which is just icons. So like if you'd rather see a grid of icons and not read any text, you'll be able to do that too. It's just, and like of course there'll be an icon here instead of like the item name, and even these items. This is like 50% done, so there's placeholder stuff everywhere. But yeah, we want it to be cool and gamey, and text is not very gamey. Yeah. So what if you want to mix names and icons? We'll probably have two versions. One is with an icon on the left of this text, so it'll be icon text, and that's good for like learning, because you don't know what all the icons mean initially, and then once you're kind of a pro crafter guy and you've mastered all this stuff, you'd probably just switch to icon view and show a grid of icons, because then you can see more things on the screen at once. Will we need to make parts to build bigger contraptions? Yes, Bioman, but we want to be careful with how we do that. I said this a while ago, like our original versions of so we call those intermediate goods. So I have to craft something just so I can craft something else. And if you have too many of those, it's really unfun and awful. Our original version of building made you craft wooden planks from wooden logs before you could build anything. So if you wanted to build a house, you'd harvest some logs and make like 100 wooden planks, and then use the planks to build the building. And that just like was not fun. So we want to be careful with how we introduce those intermediate crafted goods, but there will be some where it makes sense. Probably those will be more towards like the advanced crafting game and the crafting end game, where you're sort of building up pyramids of crafted goods to get like that final thing that you really wanted. If I have a mod which requires a menu or dialogue, will I have to add an icon somewhere in the UI? Yeah, so, or we'll have a mod management UI. Yeah, so we'll have some way of managing mods, like turning them on and off. Yeah, and then we'll have some standard place where, like, if you want a button to pop up your mod, where that kind of belongs. For WoW, it's funny, like, that place sort of became like the ring around the map. Like a lot of mod authors just started putting their buttons there, and then everybody put their button there, so that kind of grew organically. We want to have that sort of out of the box. And the challenge there is to make it behave better than like the sys tray in Windows. So we'll figure something out. But yeah, here, put that right there, that's better. Is there a possibility of a closed alpha? No. The problem behind the alpha is anytime you release, it's a distraction. It slows you down. Because the reality is you can't just sort of... Whenever you're building software, there's a time where, like, it's usually not... Like, day-to-day, it's not as stable and as bug-free as something that you want to put out in the world. So whenever you want to do a release... it's very hard to just sort of say, okay, take the snapshot of the day and shove it out the door. So you have to put some effort into cleaning it up, and that just slows down the beta. So, no closed alpha. Can I see the wombat? The wombat's here. He's like in front of my nose. See him? What, you want to get a closer look at him? Yeah, he's on the couch. Yeah, you guys see him. Great. What language are you using for the engine? The engine is C++. All the gameplay is in Lua, and all the UI is in HTML and JavaScript. Are there going to be content updates after the release? Oh, for sure. Yes. So there'll be content updates from beta to release and then after release. So, you know, we just keep adding on. Can we ride the wombat in the game? The wombat will probably make his way into the game. Right. So we've started working on a schedule, planning out when we're going to do what, and we've determined that, like, there's a big question mark around like what does beta mean, and it means different things to different people. So our beta will not have all the game features, just because there's not enough time, and that's why we have the release like 9 months after the beta, right? So the idea is that, can you see the schedule? The schedule exists in our heads right now, so you can't see it. Well, kind of, because you can see my head. But yeah, so the beta will focus, the first cut of the beta, which is the December release, is going to focus on the two most important gameplay systems, which are building and crafting. Okay, so those will be in there, and they'll be in a much more complete state than what you've seen in the Let's Play videos. And then other things like farming and combat, and more sort of down the road stuff will come in between beta and release, right? So we hope to update the beta quite often over the course of the year, and you guys will get more and more stuff. And then when the game releases, that's where we'll have all the major gameplay systems in place, and then we'll continue to improve it after that. So I just want to like quickly get that out there. Like, don't expect to be able to do everything that you can do in the game in December. First beta is crafting and building, and then it'll grow from there. Can we get more information about how the modular buildings are going to work? Okay, why not? Let's go to Cubicle. Hey, look, it's a carpenter workshop that we did like last week. Isn't that cool? How many people do we have? 104. That's not bad. Right, so let's open up the buildings. Buildings. What did I call that? I think I called it buildings. Why can't I find it then? I guess I didn't. Alright, well, it ought to be in here somewhere. In my MRU. Is that it? That's the whelp. Oh, houses. I called it house variants. Okay. So, is this going to work? No. Alright, hold on. Remember this. It's going to be relevant. Let me find what I really wanted to. Is this it? I think this might be it. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so you asked how our building primitive is going to work. These are two simple buildings. Here's a little house and here's a little castle, broken up into their component pieces. Okay, so let's look at the house, since you guys have seen the houses mostly already. So there's a roof. Okay, I'm going to kind of explode this thing out, right? And here's like a sort of retaining wall. Okay, and here's the floor. Hey, this is working out better than I thought. And like here are some of the, here's a wall. Okay, let's get this castle out of the way because we're running out of space. Bye, castle. This is cool. Maybe I should do a blog entry on this. Alright. Yeah. Can I get everything going in the right direction? Right? Okay, yeah. Look at that. Okay, so this, here, let's move everything to the middle so I can rotate it, orbit it. Okay. So these are all the components of a house broken up. Okay, so you got the floor, you got the columns that support the walls, you got each wall, okay, and these beams should be separate too, the horizontal beams that go across these walls. Okay, then you got the roof, then you got like this extra thing, this wall. These are the different components of a building, okay, and all of them can be customized. This is Tom. Hi. Jeriob? Yeah, I'm Tom. Okay, so all these can be customized. And this is like the most basic version of all of these components. So this floor is just a simple rectangular floor, right? Right, very simple rectangular floor. Imagine like, let me look at it from the top. Imagine like you're drawing on graph paper. You'll have that amount of freedom when specifying a floor, right? So if you want to have like multiple rooms connected with hallways, you could just like drag out your floor plan like it was on graph paper in the world, and then you'll come in and say, now I want to like raise the walls of my floor, right? And when that happens, the building engine is going to say, oh, okay, you wanted walls for that complicated floor plan you just drew out, so we're going to need like columns at every corner, and then we're going to need columns to support the walls at every like 10 voxel interval or whatever we decide, and then it'll pop in the walls for you, okay? And you'll be able to customize the columns. Like if you don't like these sort of 1 pixel simple columns, there'll be different variants of columns that you can have. There'll be different variants of the walls. These are like kind of I guess, mud and thatch walls. You'll be able to pick different materials. Maybe you'll be able to pick different styles, and then for sure you'll be able to pick like different roofs, right? So this is a simple peaked roof, and the peaks on these walls, like the top part here, got jammed in on top of that wall because you chose this peaked roof, right? So I mean, this is like when I say like when we say that you can't build brick by brick. The reason why, there are two reasons why you can't build brick by brick like Minecraft or like Legos, is two reasons. First, we want to make it easier to build. Like, we don't want you going click, 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 click. We really like the feeling of building on graph paper, and we want to replicate that in 3D. And because we do building this way, we have semantic information about the house. Let me put it back together. We know that like what's a wall and what's a roof and what's the floor, and that lets us do things like pop off the walls, like you saw in our prototype video. Let me actually bring that up, like, because I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't seen it, because, I mean, that thing was a long time ago. So if I go to, like, first look at Stonehearth, right? So, like, a big problem with these games is, like, oh my god, okay, how do you, let's see if I can get this thing bigger. Can I? Probably not. We're just going to do it this way. How do you look inside buildings? That's, like, a common problem in 3D 3D city management games, right? So, and usually what games do is they take like the height of the world, and they'll like truncate it at a particular point and lift off everything that is above that height. And that works great for a lot of things, but we wanted to have something more that gave you a better idea of what was going on in your house, and also lets you sort of get a better sense of the 3D scale. So we came up with this idea of like, this is a long-winded answer, but we came up with this idea of what we call like kind of RPG mode, where you blow off the walls that are obscuring the camera. Like this is, right, so this is from our prototype video in November. So you can see as I'm orbiting around, we take away things that would prevent you from looking inside the room. And there's kind of some bugs in here, because like you can see like at this angle, there's like a little room in here that or we should remove this wall or something, right? But this is like, imagine like you had like, this is like your smith, so he's got like an anvil here, and he's got his forge over here, and you can see him working, right? There are times where you want the world to look like this, so you can like manage him, and then like when you're done, maybe you want it to look, you want to put everything back. So that's like a toggle that you want to be able to turn on and off. The only way you can do something like this is if you know that like, oh, there's a wall over here, and it is a wall, and there's a wall over here, and these walls face like that way, like out towards your camera. So in order to be able to see inside here, you need to remove those walls. If you're building brick by brick, there's no way for you to get that information. Like how do you know? There's no difference from one brick to another. You can try to guess, like you could say, oh, okay, here's a set of bricks that are all like on the same whatever X and Y, but like Z goes up, so it might be a wall. And we thought about that for a long time, but you can't do it reliably, right? So that, right, here's the other mode where you just want to see the houses. And both modes are valid for depending on what you're doing, right? So that's the other reason why we have this sort of idea of you don't build brick by brick, but instead we have these primitives, and then we'll have lots of options for each primitive, and then you look at the combinations, and then there are like thousands or hundreds of thousands of different possible houses. So just to like tie that up, let me show you a couple more things, right? So when I go into build, I don't say I want to build a house or I want to build a castle. You just start building, and then it becomes a house or a castle or something in between, because you chose, okay, my walls are going to be stone, and I'm going to choose the flat roof with the crenellations, and I choose this particular floor style, and I choose these column styles, right? So these are just like two variants of hopefully like a lot of different possibilities, and I don't have it exactly chopped up as much as I had the other one, right? But you can see like here's a different column style, right? These are thicker columns, right? Thicker columns than the one columns I had. Here's a slightly more complicated floor plan with a different texture on the floor, right? Here's a different roof style, same texture on the roof, but it's got the crenellations, right? So I hope you can sort of see, and here's a different wall style, right? So it's got these kind of like, I don't know what these are called. They have a name. Someone look it up. Right. And then to close this loop, and then I'll get on to something else, like this is the blog entry from last week Desktop Tuesday, where this is like one simple one-room house with the same floor plan, changing really mostly just one variant, which is the roof. And then I wanted to push, like, how different can this house look if we only change the roof? Which is, like I said in the blog entry, kind of a lie. It's a tiny lie, because this house and this house, whoops, yeah, both have this little wall around the edge. But other than that, that's the only difference. And then there's a bug that someone pointed out in this. Like, this is a house with no roof. I wanted to see what happened if you had no roof, and I sort of screwed up the floor there, right? But that should look like this. Those little posts there make no sense. It should look like that there. So let's save that there. Bug fixed. Okay, so that was a super long-winded answer, but it was a really good question, and I hope now you have a better idea of how building will work. Question. Can we make a mod where we build a fixed building, for example, the Colosseum, which is difficult to build in the vanilla system? Oh. Wait, what? You want a mod that just slaps down a giant plan so that the user or the player doesn't have to build something complicated on their own? Is that your... Yes. Yeah, you can totally do that, Mo. Yeah, because in Lua code you can manipulate maybe everything. I think everything that the player could do. You could say, like, my mod is the Colosseum mod, and then you just say Colosseum there, and then it just goes boom. We hope we can do better than that. We want you to be able to design your own buildings and save it as like a plan, and then use that to stamp out the same building over and over in your game. And also, if you can do that, then it makes sense that you can share plans. Like, you made like the perfect gazebo or something, and you want to share that with your girlfriend or something. You can like send it to her in her game so she can build the gazebo too. Yep, prefabs will be a possibility. Yeah, I guess you could. That plan thing that I just talked about is kind of a prefab, right? And there are lots of interesting questions around that, like, can you gift like the plan and the building materials to your friend, right? That would be cool, right? So like maybe it's like the perfect gazebo and it's got like gilded gold, I don't know, like buttresses. Can you put buttresses on a gazebo? But like they don't have gold, so they can't build it. Can you like wrap up the materials and the plan and say, here, this is my gift to you, right? And then maybe like when they get it, like a bunch of your guys go in and build it for them in like a caravan or something. There are lots of cool opportunities for stuff like that. Yeah, flying gilded buttresses on the gazebo. Question, do you think making your project in Unity would have saved you time? No. The problem with Unity, so Unity would be great for all kinds of games, and if we didn't have this mod story, it would have been probably a pretty good match for Stonehearth. But because we wanted modding and we wanted the mods to be Lua-based, Unity was sort of off the table. So we could have used Unity as like a renderer, right? Just use it for rendering graphics. But then it's like, I mean, you have this, it's almost like using, a sledgehammer for a fly swatter. It would have saved us some time, but probably not a whole lot of time. Maybe a little bit. But it's like, how heavyweight of a renderer do you want to bring in? So yeah, we did look at Unity. And it's great for tons of stuff. Like, I was amazed when I saw the Unity booth at GDC this year at so how many people are doing great things on Unity. But it wasn't the right choice for Stonehearth because of the mod story in Lua. Will we need mammoths to move large quantities of material, like dragging huge blocks out of a quarry? You think that would be awesome. I think that would be awesome too. That's a good idea. We've talked about like carts. Like, can you have a cart and the guys load up the cart and then take like 9 things back to a stockpile at once instead of 1? And the mammoth is like an extension of that idea. It's a good idea. Hey, let's do something. What should we do? I could like jam on some stone. No, let's do a variation of this. Or like okay, first of all, these were like my attempts at like making a wooden plank or log cabin houses instead of these, which are sort of like mud and thatch. I think these are horrible. We need to either fix those, or we can do like more of these where we do a variant on something other than the roof. I guess that's not going to be super interesting, because I mean with the floor plan being what it is, I'm not sure what else you would change. You could change the floor plan, you could change the column style. A new Titan boss, no way, man. We'll say that for like an official stream. I don't want to do something super awesome when like we didn't even announce the stream. Swap the roofs around, but everything is the same but the roofs. Like if I put this roof on this house, or this roof on this house, then this house would look like this house. You see what I'm saying? The only thing different from all these houses, literally, except for my little cheat here, is the roof. No, on the new ones, the colors. Oh, different colors? That's boring. That's just flood filling. Will there be forms of trade between settlements? That's something that's a tricky subject, Kane, and I don't want to like get into it, just because it would take a long time to talk about through all the complexities. There are versions of Stonehearth in our heads where there's like awesome, robust trade between settlements, but it's something that's going to come down the line. Rounded or curved or circular floor plans? That's a good question. Let me like go back to this thing. Like you could always fake it. Like the way that so like, you know, if push comes to shove, you can fake it, because you could always like drag out a bunch of rectangles on graph paper where you're like, I'm going to screw up the pattern, but like if you're like, you know, forget you Stonehearth developers, you didn't support like curved floor plans, and I really want a curved floor plan, right? You just do this. I'm going to screw it up. Can I sketch a circle? I bet I can. I did, right? Or you just drag out a bunch of rectangles that looks round, right? Now we can't stop you from doing that, right? Because it's a valid convex shape, right? And then what would that look like? I don't know. I bet we could work it out, right? So, well, if we didn't do anything, it might look kind of bad, right? So like this is a corner, this is a corner. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of bad. So forget what I said. Yeah, because I mean, just the normal algorithm would put a post at every corner, so it would look like that, which is kind of bad. Maybe we'll have to add support for curved, but then plans. But the thing about Stonehearth, which I've said before, in here I'll show you something that reflects it, is I try to think of anything that was a circle as a square, right? And so like this is the perfect example. Okay, I got a lot of stuff here. Let me pick out the ones that I want, right? Which is like this log. It's a circle, right? The circumference of this log, or the profile of this log. But like this is Stonehearth, so circles are squares, right? And it looks awesome. Same thing with this watermelon, right? Where, you know, we've knocked off the corners, but it's still pretty much a square. And the top of this pumpkin, it's like pumpkins are round, but it's a square, right? So, you know, I guess that's my way of, maybe it's a cop-out, but saying like, how much do you really need semicircles or circles? All right. Why are you linking League of Legends skins, FIFA? I need an explanation. Oh yeah, no, yeah. Someone got it. Like this teapot. These are some assets that Stephanie was working on, and we were working through. This teapot is totally Mrs. Potts. Nice catch. What did Red North say? Will we have round curve? Oh, I just answered that one. All right, so we have to decide what we're gonna do. I mean, I can make the wombat. No, that's not any good. So I was thinking about like birds. Let's make a bird, because I was thinking about birds. Like it would be nice if we had birds that sort of flitted from tree to tree. And it's on my mind, so we're gonna make one. Where'd I put everything? Oh yeah. Voxels. So for some context, we're gonna load up our critters. Where are our critters? Wow, this is depressing. There they are. Okay. So here are our forest critters, and we need a bird. Let's actually load up the whelp too. Goggles. Alright, now we'll go back to the critters. Paste the whelp. Right. So these are like the pets and the sheep and the boar. And the bird shall be no larger than the rabbit. So we'll just copy the rabbit. Oh, that was disturbing. Get over there. Alright. Alright. And just so like I can have a start, we're gonna like just do this. And then flood fill them. What color is the bird? Not black. Pick a color, any color other than black. Oh, Red North is trying to prove a point. Hold on. Yeah, Red North, no! I mean, I agree with you. These are definitely circles in voxels, or in pixels. But, like, if this were, like, to me, like, every one of these would be a square. That's just my bias on things. I understand if you have a different point of view. Right, so what color? Blue, red, light blue it is. Okay, I like light blue. Something like that. Alright, and I'm just gonna like, I'm not gonna bias myself, so we're just gonna like, make everything blue. This is gonna be like super fast. It might not be, because when you're working like small like this, it, you know, every single voxel counts, and I'm going to get some, just prime my mind with the greatest tool, at least I think, in a long time. Google image search. It's like, what really does a bluebird look like? It's like 2 clicks away. Oh god, all those windows. Yeah, I have lots of windows. Wow, Jaffer's posted. Oh, hey, that's a cardinal. Alright, we're gonna do both. We're gonna do the cardinal, but we're gonna do them after. That is a cardinal, right? We're gonna do them after the bluebird. And I don't want him just to be straight up blue. This guy is out of place. What do you think about this guy? What kind of bird is that? It's cute. That's a bluebird? Wow, I wonder if it's like not just blue. Where's Naruto? Whatever. Let's do a bluebird, but I don't think I have the resolution to capture that sort of goldish crest, so let's do like one of these. Oh, come on, man. Alright, that's close enough. I've got it in my head. Alright. Alright. Second row, fourth, perfect bird. See, now I gotta go back. Second row, fourth hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't like this gold crest. I think it's gonna be difficult to see because it's got like such a tiny resolution, but whatever, we'll try one and then we can mess around with it. We can probably try it both ways. Alright, so I think I need... Alright, I'm violating my own rules by picking colors too soon. So let's go at it. Alright, so if he's a bluebird, he probably needs to be a little taller, I think. So we're going to modify this guy, resize. Let's make him taller. Maybe let's just like make him a lot taller so I don't have to deal with. And let's make him wider too. And right away we're gonna have to decide if we have like a row of voxels in the middle, or if we have 2 rows of voxels. And I kind of want to go with 1 and see where that takes us. Just a gut instinct. Okay, you're gone. The only reason I'm starting with the rabbit, because they're shaped nothing like each other, is so that I don't have to like start from like a cube or something, and so that I have something for my new voxels to grab onto, right? Because I need to click somewhere. Okay, so let's just try to get the general shape of this guy right. And usually I work from like, I guess, a brick and cut away, but that just seems like overkill for such a small little guy. And he needs to be small because, well, because that's kind of the feel that I think I'm going for. It's like we'll have like a lot of little bluebirds or a lot of little cardinals that hopefully can like flit around in sort of ambient, just as like atmosphere, right? So like maybe like they sit on a tree, and then like when your guys come along and chop it, like they all like book it out of there and get off the tree and go fly to another one or something, you know, just like so you feel like you're actually in a place and like the world is responding to you, even if it's in like cosmetic ways like that. What? Really? You guys have a lot of opinions. A green bird? Oh, that's a cool bird. No, but the problem is, like, we can't do green because there needs to be some contrast. Like the world is pretty darn green at this point, and it's so green that I feel like the next 10 things that we put in the world need to not be green, or we're gonna have some problems. You know, you need contrast, and I'm actually gonna take this window and put it like up here where you can't see it, but I can. Okay, great. So, okay, so his head, his little birdie head is gonna like pop up here, right? And I hate doing this, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break my own rule and try it. Like, oh right, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Like, I'm not a fan of like that look. No, it's totally wrong. Like, in general, oops, I'm not a fan of like this look where like the eye is like on both this side and this side. I just think it looks awkward. So, but I'm gonna try it now, and then I immediately realize it's the wrong thing because the eyes on this bird, that's the wrong thing too. Need to be on the sides of his head, because like birds don't have forward-facing eyes. So like something like that. You know what? There's probably like a perfectly good bird that I could like ape. Like I'm sure someone made a pixely Twitter icon or something. But I don't want to do that. I want to see if I can do it on my own. Alright, so yeah. And he's got kind of like a crowned head. Yeah, so like this is what I meant, like where we have to decide, do we have like 1 or 2 voxels in the middle? And with 1, I like the proportions, but I don't like the fact that I can't do anything with his head. Like I want to give him like this sort of rounded crown to his head. So we're gonna like, oops. Wow, look, we were just messing around and already it's looking alright. He's got that sort of cute look to him. I'm gonna make a change and see how it works. We're gonna go with an even number of voxels. And that didn't really help me a whole lot. Maybe a little, but not a lot. No, that's really bad. But maybe I like these proportions better because I can do something with the beak. I'm just gonna go, oh, that's too ducky. He looks like a duck. Guys, stop linking birds. We made a decision. Yes, Jagger. Or Jagger? Jagger Jack. You were right. Birds. Bird done, says Joffers. So this looks like our little bluebird. This looks like a duck. So if we do a duck, we'll keep this guy around. But no ducks for now. Oops. Cut, paste. Alright, so we're going with this one. And I wish I could show you both guys, both windows. No, I'm not. Yes, actually I am. I think I can do it. Let's see if I can do it. Alright, so we're going to bring this guy over here. Alright, and that's our man. Alright, and then we'll do this like that. Here. Alright. Ducks are in the Stonehearth. No, I said we weren't doing ducks. We might do ducks, but for now, no ducks. Okay, so we have to be careful. We don't want to make this thing too, or we don't want to be trapped by reality and be like, okay, we're going to make this thing exactly like the concept drawing, or our concept up there. Wow, that didn't work. Because then it, you know, reality sometimes is boring, and so we want to make sure that we capture the right feel. This is what I mean, where like, you know, sometimes it can feel like when you have such a small model, it's like, oh, it's just a few voxels, but you really have to obsess over every single voxel. Okay, and I have to figure out, like, sort of editorially what do I want to capture about this guy, right? And I think I want to capture his fat body, so he should be sort of like a body with like eyes and a beak on it, and then like his wings, because he's got to have a lot of wing real estate, so he has, because those wings are what are going to define his silhouette, especially when he's flying. Like, we don't want him to appear like a like a little blue ball flitting around. We want his wings to give him some definition. So he's going to have big wings and a fat little body, and then like some stubby little legs sticking out, right? So that's what we're going to emphasize. And for me, it always helps me to almost like say that out loud and figure out what I'm emphasizing. Because if you don't emphasize, or if you try to emphasize everything, if you don't make a choice, then at least the way I end up modeling, I end up with something that's very blah and very boring, and it's like I feel like I'm repeating myself, but not everybody sees all of these. Like, to me, my favorite model that I've done maybe ever, even though he's not the most complicated, is this pig. This boar, right? Because it's like really strong. It's like he reads boar because of his snout, his like mane here, his bristles, whatever they're called, and like even like the dirt, right? So these spots on him, right? So that's really but other than that, he's like, he's a super simple silhouette, but he looks like a boar, right? He's unmistakably a boar, not even a pig, but a boar, right? So I try to capture the same sense in all my models. And I think like the kitten does not have that quality. Like, what is kitteny about this? Not a lot. The whiskers are alright, but he needs work. The kitten needs work. I like the shorn sheep too. Whatever. Let's get back to the bird. Okay, and these legs maybe too thick. I don't know, but I don't have much choice, do I? But he's got kind of this. He had this wide stance, which I didn't like. I like kind of the frail type legs, and those are too long. I said I wanted to emphasize, which are like kind of representative of our real bird here, but we're not trying to represent reality. We're trying to represent sort of an impression. So let's give him like really stubby legs instead, which will emphasize his fat body, which is cute. Okay, palette swap. Oh, you want a winged? Oh, that's cool. I'm not sure how that's going to read because he's so black. Will his silhouette read when he's animated? We'll find out. I like that. Okay, let's continue. So we've got his fat little body, which is cool. We have enough voxels for his like under thingy. What is this called? This area in here? I don't know. What's a bird? A bird? What do you call him? A bird scientist called? Anybody? His chest. Yeah. Question: are the Mindesk people going to make software free to Stonehearth monitors? So we are still having conversations with the Mindesk guys, and it's going quite well. In that we are both interested in supporting the Stonehearth modding community, which is awesome. No real details to report there yet. Unfortunately, the ball's in our court to respond as of this second, and we've just been like, or I have been swamped. So I deserve that. I need to give Tim from Mindesk an answer back to his latest round of information for us. So TBD. We're going to do what we can. Yeah. More info later. That's not bad. He needs wings, right? He has no wings. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like to be, like, perfectly upfront. Like, free is tough for a lot of reasons. But, like, you're looking at probably, in my opinion, like the best voxel tool there is out there. So everyone deserves to get compensated for their work. So free is tough. Now everything else is more possible. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So we'll see. Any more questions? Question. Oh yeah, the program I'm using is Cubicle Constructor. You can get it at Mindesk. There is a free version if you just like want to learn the tool. If you want to actually like try animation or something like that, you need the ability to export. And there's lots of information on this on that tool and a lot of other stuff at our discourse, which is discourse.stonehearth.net. if you can't remember that, just go to stonehearth.net and click the forums button. And you can see like what other people are making. I mean, a lot of guys are making like super awesome like models for all kinds of stuff, which is nice, very nice to see, because that's exactly what we want to see. Is we want to see people like exercising their own creativity. That's kind of part of the reason why we're spending so much effort. Well, it's the big reason why we're spending so much effort making this thing like moddable. So that's awesome. Very, very gratified to see that. Hey, he's not doing too bad. I think I want to make him have a longer tail. And this is one of these cases where I'm going to have to model this guy in kind of an awkward pose so that he animates correctly. Like I want his tail to be flat and smooth, so that when like so that when I can't change the topology of the model in animation. Like if there's like a jaggy, like, you know, sort of this region has like jaggies in it, I can't change those in animation. The model is what the model is, because we don't support deformation. It would look weird to have things deforming and morphing as he animates. It's a voxel game. Voxels are like kind of by definition rigid, at least our kind of voxels. So I'm gonna have to put his tail like below him, and it would never be like this in an animation. It would be like off, like to the side, because obviously his feet are on the ground. But I just have to do this and keep in my head that his tail is not going to be in that orientation when he's in the world. And the same thing happened like with our whelp. Like those are guys who are around. Like we chose, right? So we chose to make his tail an even number of voxels wide, right? Which meant that we couldn't put like, we couldn't center the tip of his tail, so it's off center and looks crazy. But that's okay, because I'll put it in the right space when he's animated, so you'll never see the tail look like that in game. So it's kind of the same thing. Here the tail is like, you know, down below him, but it'll be fixed in the game. And I think I'm being too literal with my color choices, so I'm going to choose a warm color for his breast and make it really, 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 really light, just to get some contrast. Yeah. Right, so now he has more character, and maybe do that too. No, that's overkill. Right. All right, let me mirror this guy. Boink. From this view, he looks kind of like he looks like an upvote, but he also looks like a Galaga boss. Not a boss, but one of those things you fight in Galaga. Tail's too long. You think so? I don't know. So think about this guy like when he's flying. So I agree that like anatomically the tail is too long. But when this guy's flitting around, the things that will define his silhouette are not going to be his body, because his body, like from almost any angle I pick, it's more or less, it's kind of the same silhouette. I mean, his breast gives him some differentiation, but his silhouette is really going to be defined by his wings and his tail. So I kind of like, I am biased towards making it like too long. I'd rather make it a little too long than too short, and then see where it goes. Let's like do that. Does that help? No, that doesn't help. I don't like this blue. I think we can go a little brighter. Not a lot brighter, but a little brighter. Yeah, there we go. Hey, that's not bad, man. What do you guys think? A V-shaped tail? I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. Maybe. I don't know, I feel like this is like a level 1 bird, right? It's like the bird that is like just kind of around. He's not like, he doesn't give you any epic or rare materials or anything, so let's keep them simple. And then a V-shape, a V-tail could go on like a level 10 bird, if you know what I mean. You know, kind of like one of the birds that you'd find maybe in like a more remote area, or that you have to work to get to. Right. All right. So let's get rid of the whelp, because he doesn't belong in this file. I feel like we're making progress. I feel like he's like maybe like 80% of the way there. So what I'm going to do shade under his breast a little bit. And then we're going to do some palette swaps. So Joffers had an idea for a cardinal. Well, it was this guy. Oh, he moved. Come on down. Oops. This guy, which we'll do later. But Joffers had an idea for a cardinal. Yeah, there he is. So we'll do him. Whoops. Juggling windows. We'll do him next. And I'm excited about him because he's got that like red face. Or black face, sorry. So let's pick a red that's in the right ballpark. Maybe like around there. Okay, so that was easy. Hey, he's done. No, I'm kidding. And then let's pick kind of a lighter one. That's going to be a nice complement for his chest. That's maybe way too subtle, and maybe I'm fooling myself. But he looks kind of like a parrot. That might be overkill. You like the blue wing? He looks like a parrot. Yeah, and it's the blue wing that really makes him look like a parrot. So that's not going to happen. Not on my watch. I mean, you know, if he was a parrot, he would look great, but he's not a parrot. He's a cardinal. That's not good. That's too plain. And it doesn't have to actually be a cardinal, right? He can be like a variant of a cardinal that only exists in Stonehearth. Perfectly happy with that. Let's do this. He's got shades. Okay. Okay. Wow, that's sinister. That is super sinister. Let's give him like gray eyes. A little more blue, a little more gray. Yeah. And then we're gonna give him like an orangey beak. Tron bird. Right, so we can do like that. It's not bad, it's not great. Nice try. I mean, you know, we can do that and be out of control. No, I hate that. I kind of like that. I don't know why, but that feels right to me. Do kind of like that. No, that's bad. It was better before. Okay. And this cardinal does not have such an out of control tail. Give him a shorter tail. This guy's kind of boring, but that's okay, because I think he's going to be defined by the silhouette. Let's try giving him, like, piercing white eyes. I like that better. Although I don't know about the wisdom of using white. There we go. And let's see if we can, like, give him some kind of definition so he's not just, like, red all over. We can define him by sort of, like, something like that. Oh, that's bad. There. Yeah, that's great. So now you'll see these little dark bits that are flapping around at the tips, and it'll help define his form. And we should do the same thing in the tail. Alright. Hey, someone's calling me. I don't think I know you. Alright, hold on. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. All praise the great Joffers. What did you do while I was gone, Joffers? So that was someone from the area, our new office space, wanting some information. So, like, among all the things that we're doing, most importantly, developing the game, we're also leasing office space, which is very exciting because we're hiring people and not everyone can fit in my living room where we are now. Like you can see, no, that's the Android, but you can see in that chair on the far right, Stephanie's sitting there, and then Tony is like 10 feet to her right, and then there's no more room. So, yes, office space, and we'll do like a stream or something to show you guys the space once it's done. It's kind of cool. So, like, we're going to be in kind of a small little trendy city located centrally in the Bay Area to make it commute easy on everybody, called Los Altos. And we found a space that meets our budget, and we're going to do some renovations on it, just some like affordable things that we can do just to make it like more suited to like programming and game development. Like right now it's sort of built out like, imagine like a dentist office with a lot of little tiny chopped up offices. So we're going to like, you know, modernize the space a little bit. We're not going to go crazy with that at all, don't worry. But yeah, when it's done, it should be awesome, and we can do like a like MTV Cribs or something. I just realized that like my usual thing of like highlighting the top faces of things, I have not done here. So I'm going to do it, and it makes, for me at least, a difference. It's almost like baking in some lighting, I guess. Right, so let's do that there. You probably can't tell. I'm sure most people can't. Maybe I'm not giving you enough credit, but I like it. How do you optimize your voxel models? Does it export? Yeah, that's a good question. So, Cubicle exports these guys like in the most straightforward way possible, which means every voxel, every rectangle or square that you see is exported as two faces, and that is highly unoptimized. When we import, before we import it into the game, we optimize it. So like if I had like, just as an example, community matrix that's like 10 by 10 by 10, right? So this guy, when you export it in Cubicle, is like hundreds of faces. Like we can count. So this is 100 faces times 2 because their tries is 200, and then times, so it's over 1,000 faces when you export it in Cubicle, which is bad. When we optimize it, it goes down to like 6 times 2, 12 faces, right? Because you have one giant face for each one of these, and then split it in half because they're triangles. Oh, you can't see my mouse, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. And Cubicle for like Unity and stuff like that has that optimizer built in, but because we're not using Unity, we have to do the optimization ourselves, but it's not a big deal. So yeah, we export optimized meshes. That was a good question. Best bird ever for Stonehearth. That was a 503, so everybody loses. We don't get to see the best bird ever for Stonehearth. Is my mic on? Yeah, it is. Good. Bye, Tobias. Or Tobias? I think it's Tobias. You think the birds need square heads? They have square heads. They're totally square. That's not funny, fun kid. Tony wants me to lose the mohawk. No way, man. Look. Ah. Now he looks all like Mr. T-ish. Well, not Mr. T-ish, but like, he looks like a linebacker. There. I'm happy. Maybe his head needs to be like 1 voxel higher. He might be too hunched. Let's try this. I think that might have been a success. No, it's not. Alright, whatever, they're just birds. I'm sure that I'm going to have to go back and tweak these when they animate, because once they're like flying around, I'll have a much better sense. It could be that the wings are too big or too small, or the head is just totally out of whack. But whatever. I think they look pretty good. It's a good first cut. We'll animate them and see how they go. If they need more refinement, we'll do it. Okay. That's about it. So this was like a total impromptu live stream just to see like what would happen if we throw up a stream and didn't tell anybody. And it looks like, how many of you found us? What's the updated tally? 125 people. That's pretty good. So yeah, a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Mini games. Let me click the link. Oh, ha! Wow. So I said that like people were doing cool things on the discourse. Like this is like nuts. Who did this? Are you kidding me? Look at that. This baller. Up. Phone again. Be right back. I have returned. Isn't that cool? Well, okay. I think this king here is like, there's something wrong with them. Oh, I know what it is. His crown is circular. It should be a square. No, this is cool. This is the first time I've seen this. I like the rooks. Look, it's a little dude and he's like, he's in a castle and he's peeking out. That's awesome. Someone should 3D print these and like make an actual chess set out of it. Alright, 2 more questions, and then like I'm out of here. Whoever made that, you rock. Can you continue stream? No, I cannot continue streaming for another 2 hours. I mispronounced Jeffers? How do you pronounce it? Is it Joffers? Is it Jeffers? Somebody help me out. It's Jeffers. Oh, Jeffers. Alright. Sorry, Jeffers. Now I know. See, now people are trolling me, telling me it's Joffers. Okay. Jeffers. Sorry for mispronouncing your name for like a month straight. One more question. Like a real question. Oh, template people. Yes, we will have templates available at some point. I don't want to release templates now because things are changing and it just feels like wrong to say, here's a template, but hey, guess what? It's going to be obsolete. It may change like 5 times before you can actually make a mod. That's just like kind of crazy talk. So we'll have art templates available between beta and release. I don't want to promise like at beta, but definitely like sometime before release we'll have art templates available for like all kinds of stuff. Here's a village, here's a one-handed weapon. Not a village, a villager. Here's a one-handed weapon, here's all this other stuff. Percent-wise, how much of the game is done? Not much, Draxel. We did the Kickstarter so that we could like hire the team to help us build the game faster. So we are just getting that process started, which is why I said, you know, our beta is going to be kind of concentrated on the first core features. Hey, let's do something like this for his wings. I like this idea. So it's going to be like crafting and building centered in the beta. Don't expect every single feature in the game to be in the beta. And then, you know, as the more we work at Stonehearth, the stronger the team will get, and the faster we'll be able to develop new content. So our expectation is that we will consistently add to the beta month after month, and you'll see more content rolling in quickly as we go through beta and ultimately through release. And then we're going to continue updating the game even after release, responding to what you guys want to see. So don't expect a full-featured beta. Think of it as the heart and core of the game, but not the whole game. And then we'll move on from there. But you'll get it all, for sure. Okay, that's it. This is our first Flash stream. I might do more later. So if you want to be notified when we do a stream, subscribe to us through our Twitch page. There's a button somewhere on the page. I honestly don't know where it is. I should. But subscribe to us through Twitch, and then you'll get emailed or something every time. Or just subscribe to follow us on Twitter, because that tweets. Bye, Jeffers. Bye, everyone.